Welcome back to the Live with Grace podcast, where we discuss sports, lessons, and life as athletes, professionals, creators, dreamers, and leaders. I'm Grace Byer, and I'm your host, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of the Live with Grace podcast. I just wanted to let you guys know before this podcast started that I did my best to make the audio as good as it could be, but it's not quite as clear as usual because I had some technical issues with the microphone that we used. So I hope that you guys enjoy and just wanted to let you guys know that beforehand. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Live with Grace podcast. Welcome to season 3 of the podcast. I started filming the podcast more professionally, so this looks a little bit different. But today I'm on the show with Sangolay Njie. He's a junior on the Roosevelt men's basketball team. And yeah, welcoming him to the show. We're going to learn a little bit about his journey and get some advice. So how you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. Finally got me on the podcast. It's been so long.
So I met him when I first got here. I was shooting, and was I wearing my podcast shirt?
I think so. It was like the first day of school or something, and she was wearing the Grace podcast, and I was like, "You gotta have me on there." I was just playing around, but I actually got serious over time. So.
Yeah. So
yes.
It's been long overdue, but with the season and everything, it probably would have been hard for you too, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad now that we're able to do it. So.
Yeah. But how are you feeling like after the season?
I kind of feel sad that we lost, but at the same time, I'm relaxed thinking about next season, things I need to do for next season, because I can't dwell on the past. So now I'm just getting equipped for next year, my last year, senior year, getting ready to do what I need to do to elevate and become a pro.
Yeah.
And that's on my mind right now, becoming a pro basketball player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're kind of like in the same place there with like the senior year, just like a different type of motivation.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you know it's your last year playing, anything can happen. You're gonna do everything you can to make sure everything goes right. Of course it won't, but you gotta stay ready.
Yeah, or it might. Everything might go better than you expected to go.
And we don't think like that a lot of times. You see how I thought?
No,
it was just
you said of course it won't. I'm like, you don't know that, you know?
Exactly. So but I'm ready either way it goes. So I'm gonna live hard this season. Get in the gym, probably 500 shots a day.
Yeah. Probably
1,000. I'm just gonna try to grind it out. Nothing, just basketball. Just trying to get everything I can out of it.
I mean, might as well. So, like, what do you see like that you're gonna take from this season? Going into the off season, like, what are the main things you're thinking about, mindset wise, and just like basketball wise, like things you're working on within that 500 shots, or just like within like your daily life? Like, are your habits changing, or are you thinking about certain things?
Yeah, that's a good question, because my habits do need to change, honestly, if I want to go to where I need to go. And my mental state needs to change. A lot of the times I get down on myself, or I'm in my own way. And most of the times that's the only person stopping me, just me. So I feel like I can be one of the greatest, one of the best basketball players there is, but I get in my way a lot of the time. So this summer, I'm going to definitely work on myself. I'm going to just work on my mental, like meditating ways that you might not think, just get away. Just not think about basketball too much. I know that sounds crazy, but if you love something, you got to get away from it. So just know how much you love it. So kind of just got to get my mental right and know that I'm going into the last season, and that's what's going to be my motivation.
My dad has like introduced me to a book. It was called like The Power of Full Engagement. And it was basically about like the power of like fully engaging in something, like when you're in a basketball workout or practice or season, like being fully there and then like being able to fully disengage too.
Yes.
So like I honestly see that part of me is like, I want to be always like working to improve and get better, but then at the same time, like there's been times in my journey where I was forced to take rest, or I did take rest and I come back and like my shot feels like easier, lighter, and I don't have to, like, I'm not thinking as hard, and my body feels good, and things of that nature, and it actually is like propelling me forward versus just like drilling everything home and being so like analytical all the time about I need to get better at this.
And I don't know why we got so infatuated with the fact that we have to just care away or something just to be good at it. Like I don't know where that came from, because you do have to work hard, but I also think disengaging, like you said, is very important, because it gives you that time away from it, that time to really think about what you need to do when you come back, or give your body some rest. Like the body's number one thing to recover is rest. So resting includes mentally and physically. And if you're thinking about the game, are you really resting? You're not really resting. So
because your mind needs to rest too. And that was honestly hard for me after the season, because like, you know, I'm thinking about, oh, like if this would have happened, that would have happened. Oh, I want to get better at this. But I did need some time to just like, you know, I got to go home for a second just to like be at the beach or be in nature or laugh with my teammates and, you know, bond in that way. That's gonna like probably help us next year, you know.
For sure.
And that was actually something I recently talked about. It's actually crazy you mention that, because I just filmed a podcast about how to get the most out of your body, or is that even a goal? Because I think that like I was thinking about Kobe Bryant.
Yes, I was thinking about that in this conversation too, and how he's just a staple or a poster boy for work.
And like how he, like when you hear his interviews, it's like, you know, I woke up earlier than everyone. I already got my 2 hours in, and then they got their 2 hours in. But I'm getting 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day or whatever of game like shots. But, and I think like part of me is like, yeah, absolutely, that's awesome. Like, it's gonna pay off, obviously, if you're obsessed. But also, there was a time in my life where I was restricted, like by doctors and physical therapists. I can only work out for 45 minutes a day, basketball wise, just because my knees, I was recovering from something. And my workouts were actually like better than they were when I did 3-hour workout or 2-hour workout or go to the courts all day, play pickup. You know what I mean?
And it's funny you say that, because early on in his career, he was all about that work, grind. But later on, he began to do interviews after he retired, and he was saying that he did not get enough rest. He was always working to the point that the work wasn't showing up. He wasn't allowing the work to settle in. And he constantly just building. If you don't allow it to settle in, then you're honestly doing it for nothing. You're just tiring your body out. Like, you're tired. Sometimes you get tired to rest, and vice versa. Like you don't get tired to get more tired. And that's sort of what you're saying.
When you actually talk to like sports scientists and things of that nature, just drilling your body over and over and over, like for my conditioning the past 2 years, just over the summer, you know, like most basketball coaches, I know your coach does, I know my coach does, is just run lines, like all day, like all the time, get us in shape. And like, no doubt, like it definitely gets us in somewhat of shape. But like I did a different type of conditioning where you actually do it on an assault bike and like go as hard as you can for like time intervals. It gets you more in shape than basketball does and running sprints does. It doesn't tear your body down. So it's almost like the obsessive mindset of Kobe, someone that wants to do all that work but being efficient about it. Even like I was reflecting on myself that, you know, like I love being in the gym and like getting extra shots up and this and that. But my knee got really irritated like at the end of the year. I'm like, well, would that have happened if I maybe had taken like slightly less time per day and gotten a little bit more sleep, or like stretch a little bit more, or like just let myself chill a little bit more? But it's like I don't regret it. At the end of the day, like you can look back and be like, you know, I did what I needed to do every single week to put myself in the best position to succeed.
Yeah, and even then though, I kind of think in a way that it's that extra time that you're putting in the gym, that extra just the extra work that you put in, is it really worth it? Because as you say, you get greater with more rest and just more efficient as you work out. But does working out more, like in those type of moments in the playoffs, like does working out more, does it really show up like how people say it does? And I kind of think it's 50-50. It shows up, but sometimes it doesn't show up. You know, so I think basketball is kind of luck and skill too. So right place, right time, working hard. So I get it. It's a full plate of a conversation about to have. You know, so
part of me thinks that there's parallels between people who become great when you like really break it down. They didn't just do the bare minimum. They didn't just go to practice.
And that's what goes.
And that's like
that's the part about it. How much do you love the game? How much are you willing to put your body through it? So.
And like, I feel like the other part of it is knowing yourself, because like my body in middle school or high school or even like the first 2 years of college probably could take more extra reps than my body now. And like, you have to weigh in, like really checking in, like, how am I feeling? Because I'm the type of person that, like, if I'm feeling good enough that I can go, even if I'm not 100%, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, I really only like, I feel like I can't like half-ass anything. Like, I can't like go through the motions with anything. So part of it is like what we were just saying, honestly, with like the power of full engagement. Like, am I good? Am I gonna be rested enough? Am I gonna be, you know, like fueled properly to fully engage in this, you know, sport during practice time if I take this extra work? Or maybe I should shorten it to like 20 or 30 minutes instead of like an hour or an hour and a half during season.
And I think most of the times when you're thinking about going a little bit longer, that does more for your mental state than it would for your physical state, because when you're in the gym longer, you're putting in those hours, it gives you a competitive advantage, mental advantage, saying you're telling yourself you've been in the gym longer, getting up more shots. So that's when that kicks into play. I don't think it has much benefit for the physical side, like your body, but the mental side, it will allow you to push past all of that. And I think that's why I've driven so hard, because your mental state is 10 times more powerful than your body. If you tell yourself that you can keep pushing, then you're going to keep pushing no matter what you're feeling in your body. So I definitely feel like that mental aspect is important. So I can understand why taking rest is important, but I also understand why getting those extra reps and pushing your body to the limit is important too, because like you said, it's about your love for the game and how much you want to just give to the game. You're a sacrifice. You signed up for that. You knew it was going to be a sacrifice. You knew you were going to have injuries and stuff like that. So it's pick and choose. Like, pick your poison. Pick what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So,
and it's kind of like, at the end of the day, can you look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know, I have no regrets. You know, I did what I needed to do. I took care of myself. Or, and I think another part of it is, you know, like seasons of pushing yourself.
Seasons, just time.
You know,
man, this off season, it's been only a week since we've stopped playing, but I've been in so much thought, just thinking, because I'm getting older and I'm stacking seasons. I feel like a veteran almost. Just I know what's about to. I know what I have to do this off season. I know what next season's going to be like. It's almost like no surprises. It's like I'm stacking seasons, and it's almost just like, man, I don't know. Just it kind of feels weird. I don't know. It feels weird getting older, stacking seasons, but it helps you understand what's to come.
It's definitely like a lot to reflect on, like right after the end of the season. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I honestly feel like, especially if we didn't win a championship or anything. Well, we won our conference championship, but we didn't win the national championship, and I feel like that was the one we wanted the most. If you don't win that, it just makes you question a lot of things that you did during the season. Like, was it worth it? Like, did you do, like, was this shot that I missed, could that have changed the game? Did that sprint out, that line I missed in practice in October affect this winning right here? Like, and it seems like that, but yeah, I'll never really know, you know?
Yeah. And it's easy to, like, for me, it was like thinking about each game and like the growth that I had over the season as well. Like, not just what I didn't do, but also like, man, like I couldn't do this at the beginning of the year, like the end of the year. I know that I could do it now. Like, for going into next year, like I think that kind of goes along with like stacking the seasons. Like, you know, you keep building on the game, and like you keep getting smarter, you keep getting like more efficient, or you know, a higher IQ, a little bit sharper, a little bit. I don't know. Not everyone gets a little bit faster because you're getting older.
Yeah,
but like
sure,
you know yourself better.
You definitely get a little bit more savvy as you get older. And I'm dealing with that right now. I can't jump like I used to. I can jump a little bit, but my jump shot has gotten tremendously better since my athleticism has declined. So
because you probably have to rely on the skill more.
Way more. Sure.
So like, have you had any like history with that, like injuries or things of that nature along the journey?
That's funny you say that, because they used to call me injury prone, but I haven't gotten an injury in a long time, honestly. That that sidelined me for a long time. Most of the time when I sideline, it's kind of just me taking a mental break. I'll take like a day off. That's it. And shout out to Coach Brown, shout out to Coach Trey, shout out to Coach Garrett. They allow for that. They allow for you to take mental break. They know how important mental health is. So I really have to just tell them like, yeah, I'm not feeling it today. I feel like I'm bringing team energy down, and they'll let me sit out, because they know how important it is for me to be mentally engaged, ready to play. So kudos to them for that. But yeah, I haven't been sidelined with any injuries. But I do have a history of injuries. I tore my meniscus. I've broken my nose about 4 or 5 times.
Dang, that sounds painful.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm so used to it now. I broke my nose for the 5th time and I didn't even feel it. I was just like on my way to the hospital.
Did you have to get any like surgery?
Yeah, I had to have straightened it, yeah, but they really couldn't realign it all the way. So my nose is gonna be crooked forever unless I just go get some type of surgery that's gonna make it super straight. You can't breathe, you gotta breathe your mouth and all that stuff.
So was it hard for you to take those mental days? Like, did you still go to practice and like encourage or bring any energy, or you actually got to like be at home and like?
I disengaged. Like, basketball consumes so much of your life. Like, you're not basketball. It's just what you do. So sometimes, like we said before, we just need to disengage and come back ready to refresh. And I think that's it's gonna give you more energy as the season goes on. If you're taking those breaks, you're gonna be mentally ready, more prepared. Yeah, way sharper.
Yeah, for sure.
Way sharper.
I actually like hate the term injury prone because I think people use it when they're talking about a lot of times like people that get back injuries or people that for the most part like what I notice is usually people that don't have a good strength base or like especially when you're little and you're like always clumsy or getting hurt.
Yeah.
But all my injuries I've ever had are like freak accidents where people literally
Contact.
like kicked my leg as I'm falling. Like, their knees go into my knee as I'm falling. Like anyone's knee is gonna give out if someone's knee is coming into
for sure
sideways as they live. So it's like I honestly hated that term too, that like injury prone term because I don't see myself like that.
It doesn't make sense. Like nobody's out there trying to get injured. Nobody's putting themselves in position to get injured. At least I haven't seen it. And I just feel like some people get it.
Besides playing hard.
Exactly.
And, like,
playing hard.
After the ball.
Exactly. So I mean that term I'm confused about it, but
well at least like for me or like for you, like maybe there are some people that like don't properly like train.
For sure. There's definitely like preventative things that you can do to stay injury free during the season. Getting those small muscles like stronger and things like that. So
just like stretching or like
being ready,
water.
Taking care of yourself. That's a big thing. Big thing.
You think that's like you've grown in that aspect like as you got older?
Honestly, nah, not in the way that I want to be. That takes a lot of discipline. And I'm slowly learning discipline right now, slowly gaining more to get to the level that I want to get to. I have some sort of discipline, but not to the amount that I need to be the person I want to be or the basketball player I want to be. But I'm working on that now. That's why I know this upcoming offseason is going to be important for me, just learning those discipline skills, actually being hard on myself about doing these things because the results may not show up in a month or two, but they're going to show up when I need them to, and that's just the biggest thing. And I just got to keep reminding myself that.
It's not easy because like I see that discipline is not the culture, like especially of like college students. Like most people I know in college aren't like I have to wake up at this time. I'm going to go to bed at this time. I'm going to make sure I get my water. I'm going to make sure I'm like getting in the gym every day for the athletes or getting my extra work in. And maybe if in certain environments it is, but where I've been so far, that's never been a thing. So
really?
Like maybe coach enforces, we have to be at practice this time, but people just do that, and like it's you have to take it upon yourself to have that like discipline on the daily, because like sometimes for me it's literally like one of the things I've been working on this year is like not being on social media or on my phone like early in the morning, late at night, so that I can really like settle my mind, get a good start to my day, get a good end to my day.
And that's what separates the good from the good from the great.
Yeah.
The great are making those sacrifices. They're not making them in vain. They're not doing it just to not make another sacrifice. They're going to continue to make that sacrifice because they see the end goal. They're thirsty for that end goal. And I think people that are good, they'll be disciplined sometimes. It's going to need something for them to get disciplined again. They're just going to keep falling off. But to stay consistent through discipline is going to bring nothing but success. And I feel like the same way in terms of just a lot of teammates not having that discipline or that drive, but like you said, that's in you. Like greatness isn't for everybody, and I think that's understood now because not everybody is great. Everybody wants to be this, that, and the third, but everybody has the ability to, but yet not everybody's great. Yeah. It's just because of ourselves. Like we don't want to be disciplined, we don't want to do this, that, and the third. So, I mean, greatness isn't for everybody.
It's like a passion inside though, like I can't make you care, I can't make you be passionate. But then the flip side is like every great team has people that are gonna hold their teammates accountable. Like when it comes to your teammates and when it comes to like this is what we do, this is like even just leading by example, I feel like, but also, making that the culture. Like we're disciplined because we care, we want to win, not because coach is saying us.
Yeah.
And it's easy to fall into that. Like it's easy to fall into, coach is gonna make us run, coach is gonna yell at us, because of course we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and that's where you gotta stick together as a team. Like you guys really want to push each other. Like the best teams aren't coach led, they're player led. So like when you guys got that within the organization, you guys are playing for each other. Like man, it's hard to stop because I've been on a few winning teams, and that's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
Just we wanted each other to be better than we were, and that's just what propelled us to championship appearances and stuff like that.
So do you see that your team this year had that?
Yeah, we had that. We definitely had that. Unfortunately, we ran out of gas at the end, but we definitely had that. 25-5, best program in school history. Like we were definitely together. Like I can't say I love going to practice every day just because going to practice every day is just tiring. Like honestly, like I love basketball, but the work is tiring, and I'm not about to sit here and fake like it's not. Like that's where the discipline comes in. But
that you're gonna show up regardless.
You're gonna show up regardless. Do what you need to do. And just show up to work, and that's just what being a basketball player is: showing up to work when you don't feel like it, running, being the best you can, just because it's not about you, it's about the team. For sure.
Do you see that like the leadership came from different people at different times? Like it seemed like you think that's what made it special, or you think it was like a few people like?
Yeah, because a lot of us like know who we are. Like some guys are more quiet. Some guys need a little bit more to get them going. Some guys like when you yell in their face, I guess them playing more. Some guys you can't talk to, just let them be. Like everybody reacts different to different things, and I think understanding that is what makes a team. Like not treating everybody the same way and not pointing fingers.
You gotta know people.
You gotta know. You gotta relate. That's what a good leader is, though. Like knowing that you can't strong arm everybody. Sometimes you have to lead them on. You have to slightly nudge them. You know what I'm saying, or not nudge them at all. It's just so many different things that as a leader that you need to understand before leading a group of people. Yeah.
And like that kind of comes back to that self-awareness and like awareness of your team, your group, your coaches, your program.
Yeah.
But what do you see like? What have you learned from starting from high school, the things you went through in high school, those injuries like that happened, and then at your last school, like what do you see like you learned at different stages of where you've been?
Well, what I've learned personally, and what I personally have trouble with or deal with, is that you must have the utmost confidence in yourself at all times, no matter what anybody's saying. No matter if your confidence gets you in a hole, your confidence is going to dig you out of that hole. Your confidence is going to be the thing that carries you. Like you can't get unconfident ever. Like cause once you get unconfident, it's not people purposely playing on you, but it's a get even business, and you have to remain confident, know who you are, you know that you put the work in, and believe in that, trust in that. So that's what I've learned so far. Just being confident, staying confident, getting out of my own way. That's a big thing too. Like don't defeat yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Let other people do that. Let other people say what they want to say. But you always have to be your biggest cheerleader. Like I'll criticize yourself, but always say like you're doing what you need to do your best. Like, and if you're not doing your stuff your best, like you can't lie to yourself. So that's kind of what I've learned. So I can't lie to yourself.
Do you think that's something like you've always had, and you kind of had to like bring out of the shell?
Yes. Like it's a lot of me in basketball that I feel like I just don't express just because I'm a reserved individual. But honestly, I feel like it's coming out a little bit more and more. And now my last year of college, I feel like it's going to be Sangolay in full form, just yelling, screaming, being who he is. Because oftentimes I think so much about what other people think. And I honestly feel like that's been holding me back. Putting me in positions that I don't want to be in, So I'm honestly not thinking anymore. I'm doing nowadays. So.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. Because it's like it's easy to fall into that trap of like considering like what other people are gonna say, think, do. Is this person gonna be mad at me? Is this person gonna like say this or that? But I also think it comes back to like you're a competitor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's kind of how I feel too, like going into senior year. Like it has to be ultimate confidence and just assertiveness and just aggressiveness, and you have to like be that person every day.
Be that person no matter what, the highs and lows through it,
And like I kind of see like bringing it full circle. I kind of see that starts today. And how are you talking to yourself? How are you disciplining yourself?
Everyday
Not
life.
disciplining yourself isn't punishing. Like what you just said. Like I read a book one time that like changed how I thought. And like I'm not saying I do the best at putting this into practice all the time, but the author literally said you should never criticize yourself.
Yes, like never.
And who lives like that? Like
a lot
everyone criticizes themselves.
It doesn't make sense when you think about it though. Like, why would you put yourself down? I mean, I get constructive criticism, like, oh, I need to do this, and that, third, but why would you be your own enemy?
Like, at least it would be nice for the first instinct to not be criticism, and like later, like after the game, after the workout, oh, maybe I could have kept moving my feet.
I could have did that. Yes.
But like, how my brain works sometimes is like I'm like analytical and I'm like competitive in the sense that like I want to do it the best that I can, and like that perfectionist quality sometimes is like what holds you back, like kind of going along like what people think, and then like trying to be perfect because it's never gonna be perfect,
Yeah, but I think chasing perfection is great, honestly, because you're never gonna reach perfection, but in chasing perfection, you're gonna always reach higher levels, because you can't reach perfect, but you can always reach a higher level.
It's like not being satisfied.
Yeah.
You're never gonna just like settle.
But you have to have a fine line between like chasing that perfection and beating yourself up, being your own enemy. And that's something that I'm battling with too, because I want everything done the right way, perfect, but that allows me to think bad about myself, like, because things aren't going to be perfect.
Hey guys, this is just a warning that there is a siren about to come in the background. I was unable to remove it completely, but just wanted to let you guys know. And there's also one more siren, I believe, in this audio, so don't be afraid if you hear it.
There's always going to be something you find that, oh, I didn't do this good enough.
Yeah. And that leads me to say that it's not about what you do, it's how you do it and how you think about it. You can change a lot of things, like a lot of negative things in your head around into positives. Like, and everything doesn't have to be so negative. You can always work through something. It's just about how you look at it,
And I think it's always perspective.
It's always though, like that's the biggest thing I've been learning, like as I've been growing up, it's always perspective. It's like how you look at it, how you see it in your head, because everybody has their own reality, like everybody doesn't have it, not on the same page.
Right, like everyone like lives in their own world.
Yeah.
And it's strange because I think part of it is like how are you raised, who are you always around, and how they think is going to be how you think everyone thinks, you know? And really, you never know how people think unless they verbalize it.
And even if they verbalize it, you'll really never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even know how I think sometimes. Like, because you can only express a fraction of what you're actually like thinking at all times. You know, like I think the mind is like so like deep and complex. Yeah.
And I feel like the English language limits us because I mean, there's only so many words, but I feel like there's so much more that we just haven't discovered. It's kind of like the iceberg theory. Like, yeah, we like I can express like I'm sad, mad, happy, but I feel like there's so much more.
It's like levels to it.
There's levels of understanding like who you are and things. It's like a spectrum, honestly.
Like what's it rooted in?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Yeah. Why does this thing bother me? Is it really what's happening that bothers me, or is it something like
that has to do with you? Or
yeah,
and most of the time it has to do with you. So,
so how do you think you balance like going along with this, like keeping your confidence really strong and like I know you said you're working on that, but when people do things that frustrate you, when coaches' decisions or people or like even outside of basketball frustrate you, how do you stay in that mode of like, that doesn't affect me, I'm in peace, like this is who I am, I'm gonna stay the same person. They don't define who I am. Or the situation doesn't define who I am.
Yeah, I really don't like think of it as it's defining me. I sometimes do, but I want to start looking at it like, okay, this is what it is. I'm gonna sit in the uncomfortableness and sort it out and just troubleshoot it, because a lot of people run from their problems. Like me, honestly, I'm like non-confrontational. So if somebody does something to me, I'll be like, all right, that's cool. Like just get away from me. Like I ain't too rowdy or nothing like that, unless you get real disrespectful. But I'm not confrontational. I'm just gonna leave you alone. But to have a problem is to just sit in it and understand it and work it out, because running from the problem or not trying to understand what's going on is not going to help anything at all, help you. And that's the ultimate goal, helping yourself. You're trying to help yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like there's something to that of leaving things alone, because I don't think that everything is meant to be addressed and meant to be a fight and meant to be drama. Because I'm kind of the same way, like, I just don't want drama.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, there's a line there too, because like if you disrespect me or you like say something like it's a certain level of like respect for yourself, of sticking up for yourself.
Exactly. You have to stand on some sort of business, or else like people gonna walk over you. I'm dealing with something like that. Like as we speak, like people gonna walk over you if you let them. Just because you're not confrontational, just because you don't say a lot, people think they're gonna do whatever they or say whatever they please, but I'm not quiet just because I can't talk. It's just because I'm avoiding whatever bullshit that you're talking about.
Right. And I think like the other part of what you said that like stuck out to me is sitting with your thoughts and sitting with the situation and just getting through it and not avoiding it. And I think like it kind of goes back to also what we were talking about earlier with meditating and like not just sitting in meditation, but sitting with your thoughts, being in nature, going for a walk. I even consider being in the gym sometimes by myself, like a form of meditation, because it helps me to just like, get back to the creativity in front of the game.
Yeah, for sure, because you can't go without that, because the game is a game in the first place. I know it seems like a business though, so now like you gotta escape and go back to the root of it and why you started playing in the first place. But
I just feel like how our society is that there's always a distraction out there. Like if you're going through something that you don't want to sit through, don't worry. There's 100 shows on TV right now. Scroll on TikTok, you'll find some drama to get involved in. Go on social media, you'll find something to like, you know what I mean? Like something to make you laugh, make you mad, make you intrigued. But then you come back, you lay your head down at the end of the day, and your problem is still there. Like the situation is still the same thing. So like,
and another problem is coming.
Yeah. So, what do you think the balance is between like, you gotta sit with it, but how do you sit with it and grow from it versus like sulking in it?
And that's a good question. And I'll ask myself this like when the season ended. And I believe asking yourself questions is good. Asking yourself the right questions and being honest with yourself. Like, what part did I have to play in said situation? What can I do to make myself feel better? What can I do to make the situation better? Just just being intelligent about what it is and what it's not. You know, like a lot of people are ignorant in problems or situations, and they would think that ignorance resolves it, but honestly, it just heightened it just to a point that it didn't need to be at. And I really wish people could diffuse things a lot easier, but that's not the world we live in. So,
and it really applies to everything, not just sports, not just basketball, not just relationships, whatever. Like, I was just talking about this because I'm writing this paper for one of my classes about homelessness in Chicago, and like a big thing that I'm like wanting to like convey in my story is that to solve it, you have to see it. You know what I mean? Like you can't ignore it. You know, and it's not saying that seeing it is gonna solve it. Like just the same, it's not saying that sitting with your thoughts is gonna make the situation go away right away. But in order for the situation to go away, or for you to grow, or for the problem to get a little bit better, you have to be aware of it and like acknowledge that it's there in the first place.
And I feel like, not to put anybody down, I feel like a lot of people don't have that emotional intelligence to deal with stuff like that. That's why you see a lot of what you see today, just distractions, your phone, just stuff like that. People can't sit in it and resolve it. You know, I feel like the world would be a much better place if people understood that that's how you need to go about things. But I mean, we're all not perfect at the same time. I'm not saying that this is how it needs to be, but I understand our feelings get the best of us sometimes, and we do react. But
and I understand it's hard.
Yeah, like, it's hard. Yeah.
And I understand also that I'm not perfect. That there's times that I've been ignorant to things.
Yeah.
And there's times that I haven't even known that I've been ignorant to things until someone's pointed it out to me.
Yeah.
Or I've reflected and been like, oh, this happened, you know? Like, I didn't realize this perspective. Or maybe I could have, you know, seen this or been aware of this a little bit better. But like you said, I don't know if that's like a quality that's ingrained in our society that we're reflecting on ourselves. It's like something you really have to like learn and teach yourself or grow up or be around people that do that.
Yeah, and I think because we're gonna have regrets, we're gonna make mistakes. Like you said, I could have been more acknowledging in the situation, or I was ignorant in the situation. But I feel like you can't take anything back. So reflecting is the biggest thing, and understanding and moving on is the biggest thing. And understand that people do that. So you can't hang on to something. Like you can't be mad that somebody did something to you, and you can't be mad that you reacted in a certain way or like have regrets, because you will, honestly, you can. But I feel like the biggest part of that is moving on and understanding why it happened and making sure it's not going to happen again, or prevent it from happening more times than it should have. You know?
Yeah, and I think like it might be an overused term, but intention is also like big. Like, how are you? And it comes back to how are you attacking every day? Are you trying to be the best person that you can be when you show up? When you wake up in the morning, are you trying to bring a positive energy to the world? Are you trying to treat people right? Are you trying to, you know, make people make the world a bit brighter? Or are you so like distracted or put down? And I'm not saying it's bad to be down sometimes, because like those seasons are important too, and I think those seasons have taught me a lot too. But you know, if you look back and you're like, oh, I could have been more aware, I could have done on the court, I could have done this better, I had to grow in this area, but at least you knew that day that you were doing your best and you could that day, then at the end of the day you can't have a regret about it. You didn't coast. You didn't try to ignore the issue. It just happened because you hadn't seen it before. You weren't aware of it.
And that peace of mind is important. Just doing everything you need to do on your end, because life happens. You can't help what happens, but making sure you did your best, making sure that you doing what you're supposed to do is what it's supposed to be. Your peace of mind at the end of the day.
Yeah. So do you see that you're gonna have like certain habits or routines to keep you in that peace of mind, or it's just something that you're always thinking about? You know, especially going into the off season. Like, is it intentional? Like, are your habits like, I do this so that I show up in the right mind space for the day, or is it just something that you're thinking about? You know what I mean? Like, some people wake up like they pray right away when they get up, or they meditate, or they journal, or they like, you know, wake up and have a certain habit. I'm not even saying just morning habits, but just in general, like workout habits. You know, how you talk to yourself habits, those types of things.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like nowadays I'm starting to learn more about myself. So it's kind of like I'm me, but now I've taken a step outside of me to help me. Like I know what I need to be productive or be good that day or successful. Like at first I felt like I was just going with the flow, like, oh, let me do this, do that. I can withstand anything, I can do anything. But now I've taken a step outside of myself and I'm caring for myself. I'm like, okay, like let's start moving so fast. All right, you know you're not gonna like this. What can you do today to make it not so gloomy? What can you do to make yourself feel better after a bad practice? Like, you know, the bad practice is not the end of the world. Yeah. You know, like what things can you do to help you instead of this happened?
Like
oh, now
down.
Exactly, and then now I'm criticizing myself. What can I do beforehand to analyze the situation or troubleshoot whatever problems might come up? Or just think about it. Just thinking about it helps it a little better. You know.
So, even just like for me, certain ways of like what I'm saying to myself. Or one time I went to a camp and they had, you know, when you make a mistake in basketball and you like clap one time really hard and you get back. They had told all of us to double clap because it's like, okay, like I'm moving on. And that's something like physical. I'm not saying I always do it, but it's like a little thing that just helps you move on and get to the next play. Because at the end of the day, like no competitor wants to make a mistake or no person wants to make a mistake, but it happens and you gotta move on. That's something my coach really harps on a lot.
Yeah, things happen. Just don't let what happened affect the next thing that's about to happen. So, that's big because if you're worried about what happened last play on the next play, it's just going to be a continuing fall of bad plays or, you know, things that you don't want to happen. Moving on is very important just to make sure you don't have a bad string of bad things to do. Because when you're thinking about something bad, it's just like you're not present in what needs to be happening right now. So you lose focus, and now it's just a whole plethora of things. Like you're unfocused now. Like, you know, it's better to have one bad moment and a whole good game after that, or like a few bad moments and a whole good game in between that, than bad moment, then yelling at the bad moment. Yeah, like, oh man, I fucked up this up. Oh shit, bro, I'm tech. Oh, now you know, like it's so just things like misery loves company.
And it's like also like the victim mentality of like this is happening to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm a victim to what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I made this mistake. People get mad at the refs. People get mad at their coach. People get mad at their teammates, and it's like they're quick to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that's also like, you know, maybe they're better at not bringing the blame back on themselves so that they find something. But I don't think that that's a good mindset either. I think it has to be a balance of, you know, I hold myself accountable.
Yes.
And I hold myself to a standard, but at the same time, like, I believe in myself that much that I'm not going to let this affect me.
Yeah, and I have trouble balancing that because sometimes I feel like in my basketball journey, I've been like a people pleaser or like a coach pleaser, like you know, like, but I feel like I'm starting to break out of that, just playing, and that's going to be add more to the team than me just being just trying to do everything right. Because when you're playing like that, it seems like you mess up way more.
You're trying to not mess up.
Exactly.
Because I relate to it. As well.
Yeah, for sure. You just gotta let loose and let be. You know, you have to think nothingness, and that's what I want to achieve this summer. Like nothingness, not. I'm not feeling this way. I'm nothingness. Whatever happens, happens, and I'm ready for it. With anything that happens.
And you set yourself up as best you could.
Yes.
So it's gonna happen if it's gonna happen.
Exactly. You set yourself up as best you could, and what else can you do outside of that? Yeah. Nothing though. Like honestly, nothing. Like you can't do anything. So yeah, that's my stance on it. You know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for somebody that, you know, wants to follow in your footsteps, like come play college basketball, play at a high level, what would you say? Like, what would you tell yourself back in high school? Or what would you say to somebody that's trying to be in that situation? You know.
Oh man, I tell myself so much. I wish I had a time machine every day, but like I said, we can't have regrets. So I actually don't wish I had a time machine. I just wish I can get better. I wish I will get better. But I tell myself, like, don't be so hard on yourself. Stay in the gym. Keep working in the gym, and don't listen to what everybody has to say. Like, find a few people close to you that really have your best interest. But keep working and believe in what you believe in. Like I feel so angry for letting people sway my judgment or sway my brain, because I really feel like I'm one of the best, but oftentimes I don't show it because I'm thinking too much about what he or she has to say, what the negative thing that she just said about me, he said about me. But really, that doesn't matter at all. Like, it does not matter. So I would tell him that, and I would also tell him, like, just be patient. Like, things are gonna come to you if you're doing all the things that you need to be doing. Like there's a universe's way of just rewarding you for all the work and the patience. Like, it knows what you're going through. Like, just don't lie to yourself about it, and you'll be okay. Like, I just wish I had a little bit more patience back then. But yeah,
it comes back to like the cliche of just trusting your process. And I kind of have like a belief also, kind of what you just said, that if you're doing the right things every day, you're bound to be successful. And it might not be in your time, but you're bound to. It's gonna work out.
Yeah, there's no timetable. When you try to put a timetable on it, that just increases your chance of failure, I feel like. But a lot of things don't even need to have that certain timetable. Like, where do you have to go? Like honestly, like, what's the rush? Because we all die at the end of the day. Like you don't need something that bad. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say or how to put it, but there's no rush because we're all rushing to do what at the end of the day, like die. So
to get something like from the world.
Exactly.
You don't actually know that that's what you want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's a hard balance for me because like I want to set goals and I want to strive for things. But how do you set goals but still be open to what's meant to happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's just by going hard at achieving what you set out to achieve, but also knowing when it's time to put it up. And I think like you'll have like strong signs, like no confusion about it, And I have a lot of confusion about things, but when I know something, I know something.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
Yeah, and, I when I'm on the line about something, I'm not really sure, but when I know, I know for sure. I had a few thoughts about that with basketball, but
I think everyone has.
Yeah.
When it gets hard, and we're just like.
When it gets hard, that's when that discipline comes in.
Yeah. That's one thing that I would say is like to somebody young that you have to really love it to play in college or to play at the next level.
Yeah, you gotta really love it, or you gotta be so infatuated with the end results. The good days and bad days, you're still just like on the straight and narrow. Like, you're still just going through it. Like, you have to be that disciplined. And discipline doesn't look like I'm waking up at 5 a.m. every day. Like, I'm on strict. Discipline, I feel like, looks like knowing what will bring you down, and knowing that if you become undisciplined, you can get disciplined right back. Like, say if you miss a day of workouts, don't relax the next day, and don't say I missed the workout. Everything's wrong. Like, I'm sucking. Somebody's getting better than me today. Just start back where you left off, because once you keep stopping yourself and believing that those stoppages are actually like affecting you, like the more they're actually going to affect
the energy is going toward those
towards those things. But if you just continue on what you need to do consistently, like even inconsistently, like it would be inconsistency in there, but if you consistently like stay the course, like you'll reap whatever you want out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing remarks or other words you want to say? Or topics?
No, I shout out my mom. Yeah.
What you said actually reminded me of, for some of the listeners that listen to this one, it was one of my earliest podcasts called Balcony People. And it's about, that was another thing you said that it just reminded me of when you said your mom. It's like the few people, like when you imagine like a balcony of people cheering for you, it's like the people that are always there for you, like the ride or die people. And it doesn't have to be a lot of people. It could be one person. It could be someone you don't even know that well. That's just like always supporting you. But it's also those people that are gonna like keep you on track and hold you accountable and tell you, okay, you need to get better in this way. Like, you need to be aware of this. But they're also like, they believe in you at the end of the day.
And I know there's like certain group of people that we know are on our team, but sometimes people that can be on our team come in disguise, and some people that aren't on our team come in disguise as well. So,
as people that you
think would be on your team. But I honestly shift through that by like just looking around when I'm not feeling good or when something's good not happening. I just look around, see who I'm around, and I just try to find a pattern in that. Like when I'm feeling good, who I'm around, who am I talking to, who was I communicating with before, and that it's going to show a lot like about who is actually bringing you down or what's actually bringing you down because your friends, they're kind of a reflection of you and what your interests are. So if you're hanging around things that shouldn't be happening, like you're going to become like things that you don't want to be, So,
yeah, you're gonna become who you're around.
Yeah,
I think it's like who do you call when you're going through something?
Yeah.
And whose advice resonates with you when you're going through a season of uncertainty? Because there is times in my journey that things happen and like the cards weren't stacked in my favor, and there's certain people telling me to settle with like a result, a path that didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
And that really, like, I'll never forget those moments versus the people that were like, no, Grace, you still have this option. You still have this option. Think about this. Like, I got you. I'm going to support you no matter what. And those are the people that got me to where I am right now.
I'm probably still in your life too.
They are.
Yeah, it clarifies a lot for you.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
But, yeah, that was... I don't really have anything else.
I think this is the best episode. I actually haven't seen another episode, but I just know for a fact that this was the best one.
You have to go watch at least one other one. You should watch Balcony People.
Balcony People, okay, yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
That resonated with a lot of people.
Okay, that.
But yeah, thank you all for listening. I hope that you took something away from this podcast episode. I think we talked about a lot of things that could really relate to a lot of people in terms of basketball, in terms of relationships, in terms of finding yourself and finding that confidence and keeping yourself disciplined, all these types of things. And yeah, welcome to season 3 of the Live with Grace podcast, and stay tuned for the next episode. And also, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem, anytime. I wanted to come in here and talk because usually I don't come in here and talk. I wanted to be vulnerable, especially to people how I am, because right now I just want to get out there, build my brand. I also have a lot of projects coming up too while I'm here in front of the camera. I have a nonprofit that I'm working on right now. I'm sorry.
What's it called?
I don't know the name yet, but
okay.
I'm working on it. I just have a multitude of projects that I'm working on. I'm trying to become a force in the community. I'm also building a clothing brand right now too. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm just in multiple facets of life right now. I'm just being everything
really
I want to
cool.
be.
It's really good to like diversify like what you do.
For sure. I just want you guys to be on the lookout for that, man.
And shout out your Instagram or like any social media. I'll put this in the description of the podcast and like tag on Instagram when I post the promotional stuff. But do you have like links or anything to the projects yet?
No. I was just getting you guys on notice so you guys can follow when it does come out. But it'll be out soon. It'll be out this summer for sure.
Yeah, and it's a great way to start like giving back to people by just talking about what you've been through, because it's something that can help the next person. I always say like if this podcast helps one person, it's done.
It's done its job. Yeah.
So yeah, shout out Sangolay. Thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode.